Welcome back, everybody, to another BSJ educational tidbit. This isn't going to be an angry rant, but there's going to be a little bit of spice thrown in there. So, what this educational tidbit is going to be talking about, as Seven Stops so rudely interrupts my educational tidbit, thank you for the sub, is that we are going to talk about how to press your advantage as an offlaner. And we're not going to talk about specifically what I did this game. We're going to talk about the reasoning behind what we did. So, we talked about with solo carrying, we talked about laying out the exact process that you should be doing.
Banana slam jam.
So as an offlaner, it's your job to be as much of a nuisance as possible to the entire enemy team and to the opponent carry. So the first step to being a nuisance is that you push the wave. The reason why this is so important is similar to the safe lane, where you're pushing the lane in order to farm the big camp. You're pushing the lane not only to farm their big camp, but it leaves you with the choice between either pushing the lane to farm their big camp like this, or to shove their tower, right? So this gives you the choice between those two options, the best ways to capitalize on a lead. And that's pretty much based on whether or not your hero hits towers, whether or not you're survivable enough with that lead in order to push that tower, meaning you're not going to die to some gank. And that is how you weigh whether or not you're going to push the tower or not. So in this case, I was really far ahead. I pretty much have a free farm lane. I'm 3-0. PA is a level and a half behind me approximately. I hit level 6 soon here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this catapult to pressure the tower. So here's where the tidbit of BSJ Angry Rant comes into play. I'm shoving this wave. I'm calling for my Lena. We can look to dive this PA if he tries to defend the tower. I'm going to shove it. Let's put some serious pressure on this tower. Sand King, not the best tower pusher, but any hero in the game becomes a tower pusher when they have a catapult, my friends. Any hero in the game. What does my Lena decide to do? Pull the big camp. Yikes, guys. Yikes. Yikes and a half, guys. Yikes. You guys want to know when it's really bad to pull as a support? It's especially bad when your offlaner is looking to pressure the tower. It can apply to safe lane too, guys. It can apply to safe laners trying to push the tower, but it's more commonly when it's the offlaner. I'm trying to pressure this tower with this catapult, and he just yoinks my creep wave. So, the point is, we could have basically taken this tower because I have a salve, I have a ring of regen, a ring of health. I have the sustain, the ability to be willing to take some damage in order to protect this catapult. I'm going to do it whatever I can as long as it's within my power to not feed to defend this catapult. And all I would have to do is tank the tower until my next creep wave gets there. That's what I would have to do. So obviously in this example, I can't show you that, because my next creep wave was yoinked, courtesy of my Lena. So at this point, I've pretty much decided I'm not allowed to take the tower. I've given up on that aspect, and that's okay. That's okay. Some games you're just not going to be able to, which in this case, my teammate griefed me, but overall he played the lane well, so kudos to him for that. That's why we're in this lead to begin with. So we're going to give up on pushing the tower, and this is what you want to do. When it comes to your itemization, you want to be strong enough as an offlaner, first off, to push the wave. So if you're a Slardar and you don't naturally push the wave, you got to get those like treads. You got to get that attack speed item that lets you at least kind of push the wave. If you're a hero like Sand King, who has Caustic as well as Sandstorm, who naturally pushes the wave, same as something like a Mars, who has both of his abilities to clear the wave, you just need to be so unkillable and so hard to gank that you just can do whatever you want, basically. Because your hero's kit, a lot of the time as an offlaner, is going to naturally do all of these things. It's going to naturally push the tower. It's going to naturally push the creep wave. So I really liked Hood on Sand King whenever I'm having a good start. I love Hood of Defiance. Early on in the lane, I went for the 2-0-2 build. The 2 points Burrow, 2 points Caustic. That was what I did to get this advantage. But now that I've got the advantage, I'm turning that into lane shoving, farming, right, as an offlaner. That's what I'm doing. So that's why you've now seen my skill build go back to maxing Sandstorm. This can be applied on any offlaner. Get the early levels and skills that you need to control the lane. Once you control the lane, or once you've lost the lane, honestly, you can just go for your max farming builds so that you can make sure your hero has enough farm. You are a core, after all, and it is your job as a core, rather than to accelerate your own game, to be as much of a nuisance to the opponent. So notice how I'm playing up in their face on their side of the map 6 minutes into the game. right? I've almost got my hood complete. I'm maximizing farm by dragging the wave into the camp. My Lena's stacked for me. I could have done this myself if I, like, you know, felt inclined to as a hero that clears stacks. They're going to try to go on us top, but they had a really rough lane because they have a 5-position Spirit Breaker. I assure you guys, you know, a lot of people in chat or comments are going to say, BSJ, you only won this lane because you're against a 5-position Spirit Breaker. And yet, the same people are the ones saying, BSJ, I have 5-position Pudge in my game all the time. What am I supposed to do about this shit? Well, if I'm getting carry players complaining about them having a 5-position Pudge, there has to be an offlaner in that game that was playing against the 5-position Pudge, guys. So if we're going to punish these super weak safe lanes, these greedy safe lanes that all these dog shit 5-position players are ruining their carry's game with, this is the video for you. So they're going to try to go on us top. We're just cutting the wave, being as aggressive as possible. Since Sand King doesn't naturally push the tower, I'm using it as a cut creep wave, play jungle as a way to push the tower, right? Because this naturally clears the tower, or pushes the tower pretty well. And I'm actually going to drag this into the tower, sandstorm it. I'm like, I dare you guys to fucking go on me. I'm a Sand King with level 3 sandstorm. You're taking 70 damage a second. I dare you. And they're going to pick on my support Lena. But this is 3 heroes. And this is what I mean by a nuisance, right? These heroes have to deal with me. The carry ends up dying for coming back to my lane. I'm maxed out in the sandstorm. I'm just going to keep walking at them. Pressure in that tower. Nothing fancy. Keep forcing them underneath their tower. Sandstorm to clear the next wave. They don't want to be here anymore. Fuck this. So I'm going to keep pushing the tower, right? And my goal with items on a offlaner is I want to be active, right? I want to be active in the game. But just like a safe laner, you still want to farm. And if you're enjoying your laning stage, you don't want to end it. So, like, if you're really bad, you would have just rushed a blink here. Because you're like, Sand King normally buys a blink, guys. I guess I'm going to buy a blink. Or you could even go Veil and say, Sand King's really good with magic damage, I'm going to buy a Veil. And then they kill you. And you're like, oh. I want you to view this hood as a Midas. Not because, you know, it gives me golden XP when I use it on a creep. But because I have this hood, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can cut their tower wave. I can pull it into their big camp. I can farm a quadruple stack of the big camp. And I just don't care what the opponent does. And that's an awesome thing you can do when you're ahead as an offlane. I just don't care. And because I have this hood, it's like a farming accelerator, right? I want you to think about that. Compared to a carry going Battle Fury, if I'm a hero like Sand King with natural wave clear as an offlaner, Venomancer, similar, buying items to live is basically like buying a Midas. Because you're not looking to rotate, you're not looking to fight, you're just looking to consistently pressure the lane, right? So what happens is you get this first item or however many items you need to do this job. Because what I'm telling you from this video is this is your job. This is what you are supposed to do. But now, once you accomplish this job, you need to look to be active in the game. So in this particular case, I said, I want to be up in PA's face as long as I possibly can, but I also want to be able to join fights. So I bought Boots of Travel. That's what's going to be my next item. So for me, I'm like, I want to be at fights, but I also want to still be farming. And in this case, I went Boots of Travel. If I was in the case of like, I need to catch these guys from long range and I don't really need to farm anymore, that's when I would have gone just Blink, right? I could have gone Blink, I could have gone Ags, I could have gone Boots of Travel. Yules is also a reasonable option because it keeps me more survivable against the Spirit Breaker, as well as it allows me to catch people from longer range. I move faster, I can Yules them and set up my own stuns, like for my team to catch up to me, all this kind of stuff, right? But the idea is be strong enough to do exactly what you're seeing me do in lane here, and then look to buy an item that allows you to fight. And learning what these items are is part of the process, guys. But on every offlaner, it's a bit different. In every game, it's a bit different. But this is how you need to envision pushing the lead as an offlaner. Look at how many people had to deal with me. My Lifestealer is getting the game of his life. My Queen of Pain's getting the game of her life. She gets to do whatever she wants. My supports can rotate if they want. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And I don't want to leave here. If I saw that my Lifestealer was losing his lane, I probably would have looked to rotate a bit earlier because I needed to help him. But since my Lifestealer doesn't need help, I'm going to care only about myself. And that's the difference between 1, 2, and 3. Is as you go down the order, one position pretty much has to prioritize themselves. Like, as long as their game's good, they don't care. For 3 position, we have to make sure our Lifestealer's game's okay, and then we can worry about our game. So in this case, if I thought my Lifestealer needed help, maybe I'd give him a quick gank and then go right back to what I'm doing, right? And if it means swapping lanes with him, sure. Like, if he doesn't want to lane here anymore, I'm fine to do the exact same thing I was doing top bottom, but instead of being a tower pressure hero, I'm a tower defend hero, right? So this is the way I want you to think about applying leads as an offlaner. Once you get good at laning and once you are placed against really weak 5-position heroes, because people do that, it's a pub. It's very important that you maximize the pressure and lead that you gain from the early stages of the game. So hope you guys enjoyed that.